DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural.
Lady D.
Ain't looking tacky. I keep my game tacky.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy. Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
Ain't looking tacky. Cause I keep my game tacky.
I'm so pretty, I'm so fabu, I'm so nappy, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is cheering on that cartoon, and I'm sitting on top of these buffoons. I'm so nappy, I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous witches wanna come back me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so comfortable in my ends, don't care if I make or lose a few friends.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to Airfros and Babyhairs. Today this video was supposed to be an ASMR, but it wasn't giving what it was supposed to have gave. So I'm turning this into a story time / eat with me, because I never really do story times, but let's see what it gives, since I ain't about wasting my footage no more. So anyway, back when I was about 19 years old, I was living in this small town and was trying to find my way. I had no blood relatives around or friends, just my boyfriend's people. Either way, I had been in this town for about 2 years, and at the time I was working at a little restaurant as a short order cook. So anytime the restaurant was slow and I was caught up on all my duties, I would go and hang out with the waitresses and locals who would be in the restaurant chilling. Usually it would be maybe 1 or 2 people in there. Anyway, one day this girl comes in. She was around 28 years old, kind of chubby, cute. She dressed nice. She ordered some food, ate, and afterwards she was asking the waitresses did they want to purchase some of her designer watches or sunglasses from her. It was a lot of commotion going on around old girl's table, so I went over to be nosy, and true enough, she was selling designer sunglasses, watches, wallets, and etc. A couple of the waitresses bought some stuff, and so did some of the customers. But what intrigued me about this chick was the fat bankroll she pulled out when she was giving people change or whatever. I knew I couldn't afford nothing she was selling, but I was very intrigued. I guess because I was struggling, had a dead-end job, and just trying to keep a roof over my head. Anyway, the girl eventually started coming into the restaurant several nights a week. We began to talk, and we were becoming really cool. I eventually asked her about her hustle, just trying to find out how she got into that type of thing, because old girl was selling everything from designer watches to designer bags to designer fits and designer kicks. And I was like, where is she getting this stuff from? How did she get started? And who is the plug? And how can I be a part of the team? So either way, we started hanging out. When I got off work or when I had a day off or two, I started I started to ride with her to sell the merch. We would be some of everywhere. We were becoming like besties, and she was ultimately teaching me the hustle. However, I don't think she knew she was actually teaching me. So anyway, somewhere along the way, I found out where she was from and other things about her. I also found out that she was staying in a motel across the street from where I worked, and I kind of felt some type of way about that, because that motel was full of crackheads and slut buckets, and I felt like old girl shouldn't be staying there. Then I had this bright idea to extend my place to her. The way I saw it, I had a 2-bedroom apartment and was only occupying one of the rooms, and since she was willing to pay a motel X amount of dollars a night, she could afford to go half with me on my rent. I think my rent at the time was only about $400, so I know $200 was nothing for her after seeing those bankrolls she always had. Now, disclaimer about the 2-bedroom though. During the course of me and old girl's friendship, I found out that I was pregnant, so the 2nd bedroom was fully furnished and waiting for my baby. That was for my baby. I had a full-size bed, dressers, furniture, all the appliances, because when I began decorating, I was thinking long term, like my child isn't going to be a baby forever. So I want to get a legit bedroom, like get legit bedroom furniture. Another disclaimer, my baby daddy lived with me, but he was in jail. However, he was in a trustee program that allowed him to come home for the weekends. No biggie though, because the second bedroom was still unoccupied because me and my baby daddy shared the main room. Anyway, old girl agreed to move in and agreed to pay half on the rent on the due date every month. She pretty much saw how she would be saving a grip because she was spending like $40 per night, $280 per week, and ultimately $1,120 per month. While rooming with me, she could save about $920 per month. I didn't ask her to help on utilities, food, none of that, just the half of the rent. So y'all, here comes the tea with this chick. First thing first, we were super cool. Everything was going smooth. She would just sometimes be out super late, or she would stay out all night, which for me really wasn't that big of a deal until she would wake me up in the middle of the night coming in. Anyway, I would still ride out with her to sell her merch, and at some locations I began to wonder like why she would be acting so paranoid. Like we would have to hurry up and get the potential customers' attention, rush to the trunk and try to hurry up and make the sale, and then get out of Dodge. Remember, I was young and naive as to what was really going on, but I started to get the feeling old girl was doing some shady stuff. Anyway, one day she finally took me to her supplier to re-up on the merch. So this particular night she decided to go re-up in the wee hours of the night. Seems like we drove for hours off in the boonies, and eventually we arrived. I was thinking I was going to see this huge warehouse or something like that. Instead, we were out in the middle of nowhere off in the woods to meet a white guy who was driving an 18-wheeler. And once again, everything was rush. They were paranoid, acting weird, and I was like, IKYFL. I know you can lie. She gave dude a big bankroll. He started loading merch in her trunk and back seat, and then just like that, we were heading back to sling more merch. After a while, I got bored with her hustle because it seemed shady. Plus, I found out the merch was all knockoff stuff. Although it looked real and it looked pretty good, it wasn't authentic. Plus, that dude, her supplier, was actually stealing the merch and selling it to her. And I just got to a point where I was over it. I also had a gut feeling that eventually somebody was going to get caught, and I wanted no parts of it. So I stopped going with her to slang the phony merch, but we remained roomies. Things were still good between us. She would still travel and hustle her stuff, then come eat at the restaurant. I was still working the restaurant, doing my own thing. Few weeks go by, and now she has a boyfriend, some older man who was known for playing pool. He was from another city too. What's funny about him is that he had a chandelier in his car, and old girl just thought that was so sexy about him. Anyway, like I said, he was an older guy, around maybe 35. Remember, at the time I was like 19, 20, so he was older than me, but old girl was older too. Anyway, dude starts to come over, which at first I was cool with her having a friend, but what happened next I was not expecting. So at first he would come pick her up for a date or whatever, and then later he would bring her back. He would stay over a little while, and then eventually he would go home. He did this like twice in a 2-week period. Oh girl was head over heels about this dude. It's all she used to talk about. Anyway, dude shows up the next time, scoops her up, they leave, then eventually came back, but this time he didn't leave. So I'm in my room minding my business, and suddenly she is carrying on like a hyena. They are getting it on my baby's new mattress that she ain't even seen yet. But not only that, this girl was yelling, screaming, howling, just doing the absolute most at the top of her lungs, and this went on for hours. I could not sleep. I was pissed for multiple reasons, but I kept it cool. At some point they stopped and everybody went to sleep. So the next morning I see dude coming out of my bathroom with one of my face towels, wiping his face, walking around with no shirt on, and her still in her lingerie, giggling behind him. They both looked greasy and sweaty. Eventually they got dressed and left. No bath, no showers, just put on their clothes and left. So when they left, I decided to go to see the condition of the room. But baby, when I tell you, when I opened that room door and that dead catfish smell almost took me out, I thought it was just my nose because I was pregnant. So I went and got my baby daddy's sister to come check it out, and she almost threw up. Just telling you now, that smell never left, and dude kept coming back over and over and over again. And yes, they were always loud and were always funky and always had long sessions. Okay? But anyway, dude kept coming over to see old girl till one day I was at work, and I think my neighbor or something called me and said some girl was at my house looking for me and she wanted to fight, and she had bags she was slinging in the front of my door, all in the yard and on the sidewalk. So I literally had to take off work to go see what was going on. Got there, and it's old dude's wife, and she was chunking his garbage bags full of his clothes and all his belongings all over my yard, and you could see and smell that she had bleached his stuff, cut it up, and she just went ham with his stuff. She thought I was the mistress, so she went crazy when she saw my baby bump, and I had to explain to her that I wasn't the one, and if she ran up on me, it was going to be a wrap, because each and every pregnancy of mine, I was very violent. I don't know why, but when it came to issues, I wasted no time putting my foot through somebody's voice box. So anyway, I told our girl to chill out if she knew what was good for her, because I wasn't my roommate. Furthermore, I had a man, but if I didn't, hers would never be my type. The jerry curl, the chandelier in the car, and the musty nuts. No ma'am, never that. Anyway, the wife and I talked about the situation, and she ultimately told me she told me to tell the roommate that she could have dude and all those bags is his. I told her I would tell her, but dude can't live with me. I ended up gathering his bags and lining them up on my porch area, and I called old girl to try to fill her in and tell her about, old girl coming over there. So about an hour or so later, we were dragging the bags inside to ramble through them. And y'all, this girl even packed some of her stuff like makeup and panties and all this. I'm like, girl. Anyway, we rambled through the stuff, and old girl was talking like, she was done with him and all this and that. So I forgot if he actually came to get his stuff or if she took him his stuff, but I'm not really sure if they truly stopped dealing with each other. However, I never saw dude up in my establishment again. Either way, things went back to normal until rent was due. For some reason this time she hadn't given me the half on the rent. I had covered it already, just was waiting on her to give me her part. So at this point, I'm already getting annoyed with this chick. Then if that wasn't enough, early one Saturday morning, my baby daddy came home and was knocking at the door. He didn't have a key because he was still an inmate, so he didn't have a key. Where would he store a key in jail? Anyway, he was knocking at the door, but I didn't hear him. So roommate decided to let him in wearing nothing but her negligee. As she was walking from the door, I was walking to the door. So we are passing each other in the living room. And baby, I snapped and just started tagging into her. I ran into her like a bull and started just wearing her out. She claimed she didn't realize she was in her negligee and that she was just trying to open the door for him. And I was steady sending blows to her dome. I was thinking about my baby's bed that she trashed, the embarrassment of dude wife pulling up and piling all his crap in my yard, the fact that she was stalling on my money, and now her being half naked opening the door for my man child. What? She ended up leaving that same day after that good butt whooping and she never came back. She left a lot of her merchandise. I got what I wanted out of it and took the rest to the apartment manager. I had to throw away my baby's mattresses, and it took me forever to get that dead catfish smell out of their bedroom. I also got my locks changed on that apartment. But check this part out because this is the gag of the whole story. Oh, girl ended up winning the lottery about 3 weeks after all this transpired. And she hit for millions. I was shookest when I found out. But oh well. I said what I said and I did what I did. And she still owe me $200 to this day.
DJ Mike C on the track.
Cause that be natural.
Lady D.
Ain't looking tacky. I keep my game tactful.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm so nappy.
P.O.Box.
Cause that be natural.
The infamous.
Ain't looking tacky. Cause I keep my game tactful.
I'm so pretty, I'm so faboo, I'm so natural, it's like it's a taboo. I'm so filthy, got the tattoo, fucking these bitches like I own ragu. On my business with my platoon, getting these minutes like I'm a typhoon. Y'all is cheering on that cartoon and I'm sitting on top of these buffoons. I'm so nappy, I'm so nappy. All these dudes that wanna get at me, I'm so cultured and I'm happy. Jealous switches wanna combat me, cause I'm comfortable in my skin. End of the day, you lose, I win. I'm so comfortable in my ends, don't care if I make or lose a few friends. And I look like $1 trillion. Lady, he won a lotto, cause in the Lord I trust. And beauty is the motto. Naturally thick in the butt, I'm Billy Blanks on the Tabo. Edges a little rough, just pretend I'm from Morocco. Or get all up in my hair, cause I let my locks grow naturally. My curls popping everywhere, I'm maximizing on this natural thing. Like it or not, I don't care. You clowns ain't about to worry me, cause does this for myself. And I'm rapping for my ancestors.